Hello everyone. Welcome to Read, Review, Repeat. I'm Debanjana. I read books, tell you exactly what I think about them, and then go back and do it all over again. This channel is a 100% hype free zone. I'm not paid for these reviews. I buy these books with my own money, and my opinions are entirely my own. And one more thing, a huge warning. This is a full spoiler review. I'm going to talk about the plot, the characters, the twists, all of it. Okay, are we ready? Let's go. Today I'm reviewing Normal People by Sally Rooney, a literary fiction novel that is apparently a modern classic, beloved by millions, adapted into a hit TV show. And I did not get it. So let's talk about why. First, the plot. Normal People takes place in Ireland, and it follows Connell and Marianne, two teenagers who go to the same school but are worlds apart. Connell is popular, athletic, socially at ease, while Marianne, on the other hand, is sharp, awkward, and a loner. She is also quite wealthy. Her family employs Connell's mother as their cleaner. They begin a secret affair in the final year of their school. Secret because Connell doesn't want his social life complicated by being seen with the strange, unpopular girl. Marianne agrees to be a secret. That tells you something about both of them. But when Connell asks a different girl to the Debs, which I think is the high school prom in Ireland or something, well, Marianne is hurt and they break up. After graduation, they both go to Trinity College in Dublin. This is the college for the rich kids, and here, Marianne thrives, while Connell, the working class boy, struggles. And here, for the next 4 years of their lives, they have an on again, off again, on again, off again relationship. That's the book. Two people orbiting each other, never quite landing. So here's what worked. The premise hooked me. A secret affair between the popular working class boy and the lonely rich girl. And here's the detail that made it interesting. Her family employs his mother. That's not just a class gap, that's a power dynamic with real teeth. I wanted Rooney to dig into that. She didn't. I'll get into that in the next section. The next thing that worked, Rooney's prose is genuinely easy to read. It moves quickly, and I finished it fast. I'll give it that. Now, coming to what I questioned, the ghost of a premise. Like I mentioned, the premise hooked me. I liked the hidden nature of the relationship, the class gap, and power dynamics. I wanted to see how they handled that, the shame, the drama, the complications that arose from that. That's a story worth telling. But the sharp, uncomfortable book the premise promised never shows up. The class setup gets introduced and then quietly sidelined. What we get instead is a slow, repetitive account of two people in college who can't communicate, cycling in and out of each other's lives for 4 years. Next, the characters themselves. Rooney wants us to believe Connell and Marianne are exceptional people. The book tells us this constantly. Connell is literary and emotionally perceptive. Marianne is brilliant and academically outstanding. And yet, neither of them can make a decision, have an honest conversation, or show any ambition or direction in life. They just drift through college, through relationships, through years of their lives, just drifting with no sense of what they want. They don't even know if they want each other. And there's a particular quality to how they drift that bothered me. They both carry this air of being above practical concerns career, future, adult responsibilities like rent, treated as trivial noise by people who are too busy being broadly concerned with worldly events. For Marianne, I can follow the logic. She comes from money, the world will catch her regardless. But Connor? His mother is a cleaner. He's on a scholarship. He couldn't afford rent at one point. He has no safety net. And yet, he floats through college with the same detached ease as the wealthy girl whose house his mother cleans. Rooney never explains this. She never interrogates it. And she seems to find it romantic. I found it frustrating. If you're going to ask me to spend 300 pages with two people, I need to believe in them, or at least understand them. I didn't. Then there was a cycle that goes nowhere. Marianne and Connell sleep together. They are happy. Time passes. Then something happens, usually a miscommunication, usually something one of them could have fixed with a single honest conversation. They don't, and they break up. Again, months pass. They get in other relationships. They avoid seeing each other. Then they drift back to each other and break up with others. They get back together, they're happy again, and then it falls apart again. This rinse and repeat cycle goes on far too many times to be enjoyable. Now, Rooney's defenders will tell you this is intentional. These are emotionally stunted people who repeat patterns because that's what emotionally stunted people do. Fine, I accept that as the intent. But intention doesn't automatically equal execution. By the third cycle, I wasn't feeling the tragedy of it. I was just tired and bored, honestly. I felt like I was rereading the same chapter. Next, the storytelling structure. Every chapter jumps forward by months, drops you into a scene mid action, and then slowly fills in what happened in between. Then it does it again, and again, and again. I understand what Rooney is doing. She's skipping the noise and landing on the moments that matter. But for me, it had the opposite effect. Every time I started to feel something, the timeline lurched forward and I had to reorient. And that disorienting structure had a casualty. Every single side character, Joanna, Helen, Jamie, Peggy, they exist in flashes. I never had enough time with any of them to actually care about them. And then there's Marianne's family. This bothered me the most. Marianne's brother Alan is cruel to her. Her mother is cold and dismissive. This is presented as a fact of her life, something that shaped her, something that explains at least partly why she gravitates towards relationships with an unequal power dynamics. But why does Alan hate her? Why does her mother treat her this way? The book never tells us. They are not characters, they are caricatures. And when you're building a protagonist whose entire psychology hinges on her home life, trust me, it was bad, isn't enough. I need to understand the family, to understand Marianne. Rooney didn't give me that. And then there was the ending. They are finally together, finally said the words that needed saying. Then, out of the blue, Connell gets an MFA opportunity in New York, all the way across the ocean. He doesn't tell Marianne he applied. And if she's upset, she doesn't let him know. She says, "Go, I'll always be here." And the book just ends there, telling us that the rinse repeat cycle will continue. Rooney's defenders, and there are many, they will call this an honest, open ending. Life doesn't resolve neatly. People don't change just because the story ends. I understand that argument, but I just don't find it satisfying. 4 years and 266 pages, and the book just closes with a shrug. There's no character growth, no hope for the future, just the story stops. So here's my final verdict. Normal People has a genuinely intriguing premise with real class and power dynamics baked in. It is a clean, accessible prose that moves quickly. But the premise never delivers. The class dynamics get sidelined almost immediately. The prose doesn't evoke any attachment. I didn't feel connected to Marianne or Connell or any of the side characters. The cycle of Marianne and Connell repeats without any growth or any meaning. It seems to repeat just for the sake of repeating. Both characters drift unconvincingly, especially Connell, who has no financial cushion to justify that detachment. It comes across as strange. Then there are the constant time jumps between chapters, which was disorienting. Marianne's family dynamics were also unexplained, leading to gaps in understanding her psyche. And finally, the ending was just a shrug. So, for me personally, this was a 2-star read. It was easy to read, but hard to feel. And for a novel entirely about feelings, that's a problem. Have you guys read the book? Let me know in the comments what you feel about it. And if this kind of review is your thing, no fluff, no spoiler free vagueness, just a real conversation about books, then please like and subscribe because I'll be back soon with the next one. Until then, stay calm and keep reading.